Good afternoon, girls, and welcome to Art Tutorial 3 of Series 2, where we are going to create, color blend, and assemble the 3D Frangipani leaves. Right, girls, in Art Tutorial 2 of Series 1, I showed you how to measure the size leaf according to the size Frangipani flower that you were drawing. So you would do the same now. According to your size Frangipani flower, you would get the right size leaf. See our three different sizes here. You would get the right size leaf, and then what we would do then is you would take the template. In my case, I am doing this size Frangipani here, so I have now got this size leaf. Right, excellent, girls. So I think this looks like the saucer size or the side plate. I'm not too sure. I actually created my own size. It's not according to Art Tutorial 2 in Series 1. I just drew this size, and then this leaf would go with this size Frangipani. But if you would like to refer to Art Tutorial 2 in Series 1 to get the right measurements, you are most welcome to. Excellent, girls. So now we need to see the size template. So this would be the size template that I've got, and then you take this size, you would obviously measure it and then draw it, outline it, and then cut it out. And just one moment, sorry. Yes, girls, great. So then once you've cut it out, you would then take your cardboard paper. Let's just take this. This is still from that rooibos box, the cardboard from that rooibos tea box. And you would place your template on the cardboard, and then you would outline it. Great, you outline it, and then you would cut it out. Wonderful. Great. So let me do that. And of course, you can do all the different sizes, and I just love these 3D Frangipanis and leaves. They are so multifunctional for decorative purposes. Great. So there we go. So you've got your cardboard leaf, and what you do now is you find some. It's always nice to use old scrap paper for recycling. That is exactly the same principle as what we did in the petal. To do a 3D petal, you outline. Okay, so this is the size of your leaf. So you outline maybe plus minus a centimeter. I think for the petal it was half a centimeter. It doesn't really matter, but you outline a bigger shape than your actual leaf's shape, because remember, we're going to cut into it. Okay, if you want to even outline that first, you can outline your leaf shape, and then you can outline a larger shape, anywhere between 5 millimeters and a centimeter, plus minus. Right, girls, then we cut out that shape. Great. Like I say, it's the same principle that we used, the same technique that we used for making the petals of the Frangipani flower. So you would then also cut out the right shape. You can use this one as a template. So then you would just cut out the shape now that you would stick on the other side. Okay, so that is the exact size of the leaf. There we go. Great, so let's just do that beforehand. So we've got it all ready and prepared. Excellent. Right, so now we're going to take our craft glue or our wood glue, and we're going to first glue the bigger size on the petal, on the leaf. I just want to say to just make sure before you glue any of the sides on, just make sure that, okay, we can do that afterwards, but in case you've got like a wallpaper, a printed kind of petal, like I'll show you just now, you must just always make sure that the bigger side, that the bigger side you would glue on the opposite side, so that this side, for instance, if we had to stick this on that side, it wouldn't fit exactly. If you know what I mean, if we turn it either way, it wouldn't fit. But we'll get to this later. Great, girls. So with the white paper, it doesn't really matter because you can always swivel if it doesn't fit like that. If you see what I mean, it doesn't fit exactly, you can just turn it around so that it fits exactly before you color blend it. Great, so we take our paintbrush, then we paint the cardboard surface. There we go. It's always fun making 3D artworks. It's a very crafty exercise to do. Excellent. So then we'll stick that on, lift it up, make sure it's nicely glued, press it down a bit, and then you know what to do now already. Hey, we cut into this kind of seam, so to speak, of paper that overlaps. Cut nicely into it. Can actually cut that little point away, and then we're going to glue the seam, and we're going to fold it over firmly and make sure that it sticks to the cardboard. Right, so we glue it. There we go. And then we fold it over. Make sure that that edge will be nice and smooth. Here, this edge. You can just smooth it with your finger. Great. There we go. Wonderful. Now we do the other side. There we go. Oh, looks like I need more glue. I might just hang on. Let me just squeeze out a bit more glue. And there we go. This glue is so strong. You'll have a lovely, strong, firm leaf when it dries. Okay, there we go. We are going to twist it into a slight little shape so it curls up a bit, so it's not completely straight after we've color blended it and before we glue it onto the Frangipani flower. So you can just cut off that little bit of excess there. There we go. And now we make sure that we stick the side. You see that side overlaps. So we must turn it around, make sure that it fits nicely. Great, so that's the right side to glue onto the back of the petal. Great. So then I've actually made some in advance because the glue has to dry before you color blend the leaf, so that you don't kind of tear into the paper, because the paper is quite moist from this glue. So you have to wait till it dries quite well. Okay, so let me see, I flipped it around. Yes, that's the correct side. Okay, now you stick it nice and firmly. Great. If it does overlap a little bit there still, you can always trim it a bit, or if you want to just apply glue to it and fold it over. But I'm just trimming it nicely. There we go. Excellent, girls. So that is your marvelous Frangipani leaf. Okay, like I say, once it's color blended, we give it a bit of a twist so that it's got a nice kind of wavy, leafy look. Excellent, girls. So now, like I say, I'll be with you in a moment. I'm just going to set up my oil pastels, and then I will show you how to color blend your 3D Frangipani leaf. Just one moment. Hi girls, I'm back again. And as mentioned, it's the same principle of color blending as in art tutorial 2 of series 1. Right, so my leaf has dried nicely. The glue has dried nicely that I glued the paper onto the cardboard with. And my colors that I am using, they are looking a bit worn down now, hey? Is the deep green, and then it's just the green, and the grey green, and the yellow green, and then the lemon yellow, and the white. Right, so we're going to use, you could also use the lemon yellow as that middle line. Let's just go over this again. So you're going to draw your vein of the leaf in the middle. Great, and then very important, this deep green, because when we scratch out our other veins with a sharp kind of object, like I use my metal ruler, the corner of my metal ruler, you want to see that vein, and it really shows up with the darker colors. It pops out more, that little vein that you scratch out. Okay, so we're going to just color blend in there a bit, and then we can go with our gray green, always in circular movements. Go over the previous color you've put on and then move on to your white paper. That way it gets blended nicely. Then we take just our plain green, also circular movements. How lovely that's looking. Our yellow green, there we go. And then right at the edge we can use our lemon yellow. Oh, it doesn't look like we're going to use our white after all. You could always still add white if you wanted to. Great, but I'm just going to leave it. Maybe we should, just a tiny bit. Give it that bit of a sparkle. Great, girls. And then you would do exactly the same on the other side. Can you see? Yes. This is so therapeutic to do. I think I'll just do the whole leaf, and then so that I can show you how we kind of just bend it a bit to give it a bit of a kind of a curl. Makes it look a bit more alive. Right, and then I used my grey green, just nice and circular. I can go over to a bit darker there. I've actually broken my oil pastel, so I've got a nice flat edge, because then it's nice and sharp on the edges, so you can get a nice straight line next to this light vein. Okay, and then we do the grey green color blending, and then just the plain green on top, nice and circular. We go on to our yellow green, and then we are going to use our lemon yellow at the end for a bit of a nice highlight. And then, like I mentioned, we're going to add a bit of a sparkle on top of that lemon yellow, and let's just slightly blend that in nicely. Great, girls. So that's the one side. Let's make sure it's nicely covered everywhere. And then you turn it around. Be careful when you turn it around so that you don't get bits of those darker oil pastels sticking, as what's just happened to the lighter kind of areas of your tonal blending. Right, so we're doing our, can you see? Yes, we're doing the vein again. This goes quite fast. There, and then carefully go right to the edge and press quite hard with this deep green, so you get a nice dense deep color here, deep tone. Right, and then I'm just going to work a bit into that, the shape of the leaf, that little curve. Then I go on to the grey green circular movements, and then onto the white paper again, and then just my green, lovely green, fresh green here, and then my lemon green, which is even fresher, and then my lemon yellow, which is the freshest of them all. But to top it, we'll still add our little sparkle. There we go. And just make sure that you've also color blended the sides here of the edge. Great. And then we're almost done with the, see, now I must just make sure I don't put this, let me just use this little bit of paper here so I don't get any dark bits of oil pastel on my lighter tints. Okay, so now oopsie daisy, now I put down my deeper tone. There we go. A nice straight line. Ta-da! Darken it a bit more. If you overlap a bit on your vein, you can always scratch it out with your little sharp edge that you're going to draw your veins in with. You're going to scratch them out with. Okay, so then we color blend with this grey green and our other green. There we go. What fun is this? Marvelous colors indeed, these oil pastels. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? It's nice, fresh tints of green. And then we add our sparkle as well. Okay, you can always touch up a bit. There you go. If you want to just straighten it out a bit more there. There we go. But we can do that final kind of neat kind of trimming of the vein in the center with the sharp object, if you just want to kind of if you've overlapped a little bit. So there's little bits of dark oil pastel and light oil pastel on the dark. You can always just scratch off with your sharp object. So now we're going to see which point will work very nice, because it has to, the point that's not hidden under the flower, but that shows. Okay, so we're just going to have a quick look. Oh, that one's not that great, also not too. Maybe this one looks quite nice. Hey, this point goes to quite a nice point. And then once we decide that, we start doing our veins going towards that point. Okay, so you press quite hard, especially where it's dark, so that those veins show. There we go. And we are almost done with this oil pastel leaves. Nice and quick. There we go. And then the other side. You can even scratch into it a few times. So make sure that it shows. There we go. And that side. There we go. And then you do the same on the other side. Here's another piece of scrap paper. Just put it onto. Make sure the veins would go in the same direction. So they go down like that. Let's just neaten that up a bit. There we go. See how nice it shows up on the darker green. You can really see the contrast nicely. And then the other side. There we go. It's a lovely medium to work in, but it is a bit messy. Just have to wash my hands quickly, because I also want to show you how to tonally paint a petal. Seeing I showed you how to, a leaf. Seeing I showed you how to paint the petal, I also want to show you how to paint the leaf. But I'll just show you on the one half, because it's symmetrical. You can just repeat it on the other one half, the other three kind of sections, the three halves, so to speak. I just wanted to do this complete leaf on both sides, so that you know that things you must check out for. So you make sure that the sides are also color blended. That would obviously be with a nice light, your nice light color, which kind of is at the edge of the leaf. And like I say, if there are little bits of dark oil pastels, you can always just pick them up with a sharp kind of corner of an object, sharp little edge. There we go. And then you would give that leaf a nice little twist like that. Okay, so you take both ends and you kind of twist them in opposite directions. Okay, and you decide, oh, that's going to be the one that's going to be exposed. This will be hidden. So you just want to give it a bit of movement. Okay, so it looks nice and natural. Right, girls. So I'm just quickly going to wash my hands, and then I will show you how to color blend with acrylic oil paint. See, that's quite a pretty Frangipani leaf. Okay, blowing in the wind. Okay, bye girls. Hi girls, I'm back again. Right, so remember when we painted our Frangipani with the lovely acrylic paint? Here's the blue petal we did. I also painted some yellow ones, which I still have to assemble. Right, and for these painted Frangipani flowers, I will show you now how to paint the leaf of these acrylic painted combos of flower and leaf. Right, so we use I'm using this acrylic paint. the little tubes, and I'm going to take, like in the oil pastels, from dark to light. I'm going to take the darkest phthalo green, then it goes to light green, and I'm going to use lemon yellow and a bit of white as well. Great. So we squeeze out, we need what I'm using is, I'm using a nice, obviously we need water in a tin, and I'm using a nice soft flat paintbrush with soft hair, flat one, and then also a more rounded one, also with the soft bristles. Okay, so that's what we will need, and a little cloth. Great. So I'll squeeze out my colors. I always get excited when I paint, working from dark to light. Darkest green, a bit lighter, going to the lemon yellow, and finally the white. Excellent. So the white paper that I glued onto the cardboard has dried on this leaf. Okay, so once it's dried, what we're going to do is we always make the vein a bit lighter in the middle. So I'm going to, it's up to you, you can do a yellow green one, you can do more green white one. Let me mix a bit of green and a bit of yellow and add a bit of white. Oh, what a lovely color is that. So nice and fresh. Nice spring green. Okay, so I always use my little pinky as support, so I'm not kind of painting in mid-air. So you can either put it on your petal, or if you want to put it on the table surface, as you can see, and then you paint a nice straight line. If you feel better about drawing the line out in pencil first, just to make sure that it's straight, but do it very light, because this paint is quite transparent and the pencil line will show through the paint. Okay, so there we go. Let's just make it a bit more liquidy, and then straighten it a bit. And now I'm leaning my hand on the surface of the table, the side of my palm, just to get a nice straight line. There we go. Okay, you always clean your brush. Okay, well, let me change now to this flat-haired brush. You see it's a flat side. It's got flat sides. And now I'll go to the darkest green. Oh, make sure there's not, one actually needs to dry the excess water so that your paint doesn't become too watery. Okay, and then you're going to start, always starting with the dark. And you paint close to that line. Acrylic, like I mentioned before, acrylic paint does dry quite fast. And you do want to blend it in. You don't want to see those lines of where the previous tone has dried. You want it to have a nice gradual blending. Okay, so then you make sure that you cover that a bit before it dries. We'll give it a nice second coat. Great. A bit more. There we go. And yes. I was just checking if we're still recording. We are indeed, which is wonderful. And then we come to the end here of the leaf. There we go. Okay, now what you do is you clean your brush in your water, dry the excess water off, and you go to your next tone, your next color, which is your lighter green. Again, you go over that dark green, just like you did with your oil pastel, so that you can color blend it in. Okay, go over it. There we go. For color blending. Right, and then nice and smooth. Clean your brush again, dry it, and then you go onto your yellow and go over. I'm going to finish off with the yellow and then go over that's green, the previous one, and then you can always take a bit of excess paint off and then just softly, like, let your paintbrush almost gently fly over the two colors where they meet to blend them in. Okay, girls, so I think let me do the other side as well, just to show you again. Painting is a bit more tricky than working with oil pastels, but practice makes perfect. Okay, so you get that nice straight line. Press nice and flat. Using the right art materials are very important. So you need a nice flat paintbrush with soft hairs or bristles to paint these flat surfaces. And if it's too dry, a tiny bit of water, and then we go over it. There we go. And this edge here. And there we go. Can you see? I hope you saw that. To make sure there's no white paper showing. Now we're not obviously going to scratch the paint away because it hasn't got that thick oily consistency as what oil pastel has. We're going to mix our lightest colors with white and paint our veins in on top of this color blended surface. Okay, so now we go to our next color, the lighter one, with green. Go over it. There we go. And then we end off with yellow. Great, and color blended in. Okay, I was just going to show you this one side, and then you would know what to do with the other side, but as I am extremely environmentally friendly, I don't like wasting anything, and so I'm just going to carry on. I need a lighter color to mix for the veins, but I'm just going to use that last bit of, oh, okay, I see I haven't painted in the vein yet. Well, let me just use this last little bit here to just go over here, just to make it a bit darker again. So I've used up all of that dark color. So girls, you would do exactly the same on the, see, the wonderful thing is with acrylic, you can, once it dries, you can go over it again, because like I mentioned before, it's got plastic in it, and you can give it layers and layers and create a beautiful depth. Must just make sure the color underneath is dry. Okay, so I think that's fine. There's not much left there at all. It's just about finished. So let me just show you now what you would do with the veins. You take your round brush again. Just make sure that this has this side, it has to be dry before you paint your veins. Blow it a bit. This paint does dry quite quickly though, especially on hot days. Okay, it's not too hot today. There's a cold front coming towards our country, and I can feel it's a bit nippy already. Okay, so now as you can see, I'm mixing a very light color. We mix a lot of white into this light color so that it's opaque and it shows up on top of the dark colors. That green is quite transparent, whereas this mixing white with this light, so you get transparent colors and opaque colors. So if you mix white with the lighter colors, a lot of white, it becomes more opaque, and that's what you want, so it can actually show up on the darker tones. Okay, girls, so now again we see I'm just going to choose this side for the point, because that side is still dry and I want to just paint in that direction for the veins. Okay, there we go. So very carefully, this is quite a thin brush. This is a number 3. So you need a nice thin round shaped brush, and then you paint your veins in. Okay, again I'm using my pinky as support on my other hand, so I'm not painting in mid-air, which is extremely difficult. Okay, and then you just paint your lovely veins. Right, so you would do the same on the other side and all round, and then just the same way that I kind of twisted the leaf that I applied oil pastels to, you would also twist this leaf. Make sure that the edges here, the sides, are also painted and there's no white paper showing. Great. See, I've been giving it 2 coats just so it stands out nicely. And there we go. I see the other side has dried already, so I might as well use up this bit of very light kind of Naples yellow, one calls this color, that I've mixed up. There we go. See how I'm using my one finger to support my pinky, so I'm kind of anchored when I paint. There we go. Obviously you can keep it closer to the surface of the table. I haven't painted the other side yet. You can put it down and paint it like that if you feel more comfortable. Right. Great, girls. So I'm not going to take up too much time in this video. I'll just finish these colors, and then I want to show you one more thing before I end this tutorial. I'll chat to you just now. Bye. Bye for now. Hi, girls. I'm back again. I finished painting my leaf in the meantime. So then you would do oh, it's still slightly wet, I see. But anyway, it's fine. Then you would do exactly the same as what you did with your oil pastel blended leaf. You twirl it, so you go in opposite direction. The end of this leaf you twirl towards you, and the end of that leaf you twirl away from you. You curl it away from you. Okay, just to get a nice bit of a twist in there. Excellent, girls. Now I just want to show you something very fun. The other day when I was walking past this, let me just quickly show you. This paper was lying on the surface of one of my surfaces, and this little Peter Rabbit Frangipani happened to just lie next to it. So I thought, oh, doesn't that look beautiful? This, if I had to do leaves for this Peter Rabbit Frangipani, this fun one, from this paper. So there we go. So that's what I will be doing. And you know how this works by now. Shall I quickly do a demo? Let me do that quickly. So most important is you cut your bigger shape. You've already got your template. Okay, that's your template. You know what to do. You draw out your nice Frangipani shaped leaf from the cardboard paper, and then let me just quickly cut that out. There we go. So the important thing is, if you remember with the tweeny Frangipani, just make sure that when you cut out your paper that you're going to stick on the back of your leaf, that it's the right format or shape. So this is the larger one for the front. So the one on the back, where's my paper for the back? Oh, there we go. Just make sure that you've got the right one on the back. Okay, so that would be the right one on the back. I just want to show you the difference. You see that one? Oh, what do you know? It also fits. Wow, that is marvelous. This one does. This one overlaps a bit. So let's just make sure you've got. It seems to be fine, but you know what I mean. There we go. So let's just put that on the back, and then remember that this one, because sometimes your shapes aren't completely symmetrical. The one side might be a bit more kind of lopsided, so therefore you want to get the right size paper on the right surface shaped to match the shape that you've cut out. Okay, so this is just so lovely. There are bits of blue in this lovely foliage that pick up the blue from Peter Rabbit's little jacket he's wearing. Okay, so girls, you know how to do this. We just cut all along. I'm not going to do all of it because you do know how we do it. Then you just twist, fold it over, make sure it sticks. Okay, I've stopped cutting, that's why that one is, and I didn't glue that one. Sometimes you just have to persist. If the paper is a little bit harder, you just carry on and you saturate it with glue until it sticks. Push down, push down, push down. There we go. In my last tutorial, I will show you this completed Peter Rabbit fun wallpaper, and this is just a beautiful, perhaps it came from a calendar, I'm not too sure, but as you see, I'm recycling. Right, so you do that, and you would put that on the back, and look how pretty that leaf, nice fresh leaf for Peter Rabbit to burrow underground into this fresh foliage. I'm sure the soil underneath is nice and soft for Peter Rabbit to dig a little hole in. Okay, girls, now let me just quickly show you how to assemble the leaves. So let me get, sorry to just disappear like that. Remember last time we color blended the petal and I showed you how to assemble it, and I put it in this lid to dry, and I put a bit of plastic. So let me just see. Voila, what do you know? There we go. Our color blended and assembled Frangipani flower, the petals all assembled. So now what we're going to do is you're going to find the right height of a dish. I'm using this bowl, and you put your Frangipani, you turn it upside down. Then you take your leaves, you can give them another little twist. Make sure the veins point outward and not inward. Okay, they must point outward. And then we are going to, right, you see that negative space? where the negative space is, we place the leaf with that point right in the center. Okay, so we get that kind of design. Again, make sure, oh, I like that side to show. So I'm actually going to twist it a bit like that. Great, and put it there in the center with the two petals on either side. And then I've got a light green vein in the center. I've got a lemon yellow vein in the center. So let me get another light green vein for there, that position there. And the other end of the petal is resting on the table. Okay, so you want to get that kind of height. If it's too high, then you can always maybe twist it a bit so that it does rest on the, yes, marvelous, it's resting on the table. Great, so you give it a bit of a twist and then it rests. And then your next one. Great, are you happy? Am I happy with that? Yes, I am. I'll position it there. And my last Frangipani leaf, I'll position there. Great, so now you're going to give nice, generous blobs of glue. You don't want these leaves falling off. There we go. We know how to do this by now here. And then you stick your leaf there. Another one. So it's in the center of where your two petals meet. Okay, we can always, oopsie, make sure it doesn't slide off. We can always reposition it again because this glue doesn't dry instantaneously. Last one. Okay, so now if you've got a nice, big, strong, rounded fridge magnet, once this has dried, you can stick a fridge magnet on there. You might have to use other glue, not this wood glue, or I don't know, you can experiment. Maybe the Pratley where you mix the two, Pratley epoxy where you mix the two tubes of glue, equally proportioned amounts, because that's a very strong glue. Okay, girls, so now let's just get this right. We position this nicely, and then you leave it to dry. Make sure that is in the middle of those two petals. It's not exactly, so you lift it up and put it there. And that. Now, if you want, where's that bit of plastic? One can find a bit of, you can use your same piece of plastic, as long as you're sure that they've all positioned correctly. Put it on top there, and then put a bit of a weight, or maybe not. Maybe not a weight that is not too heavy and not too light. Let's just see if that will work. Oopsie daisy. That pot of paint was a bit heavy. Mind you, if you position it correctly. There we go. It might take a bit of juggling, but it has to submit to you. Let me see what other... Actually, if you just leave it like that, it will dry. You put it somewhere where no one will get to it, and it will dry. You could even just, if you want to maybe just make sure now, put an eraser on there. Yeah, that's not too heavy. Just maybe an eraser. Give it a bit of support. There we go. Marvelous. Thank you, girls. I thoroughly enjoyed teaching you this art tutorial 3 of series 2, and in art tutorial 4 of series 2, that will actually be the final one. I have got a surprise for you. Okay, excellent. So keep well, stay safe, girls. Goodbye for now. Bye.